Hey, what's up? Welcome back to linear equations. Today we're gonna consider how to form linear equation, basically having a statement, how to convert it into algebraic equation. That will be linear, of course. And we touch barely word problems, but later I think I'll explain how to approach them in full. Okay, so today we only consider maybe simple word problems. But in the next video, I'll pay attention to word problems. They might be from simple ones to pretty complicated. Okay, let's get started. Before we need to know what algebraic equation is. So basically, what we saw before is just simply two expressions connected with the equality sign. So we can say that this is sort of expression 1, algebraic expression 1, equal to another expression 2. So this statement tells you that two expressions basically the same in values. Okay, so that's always equality between them. Why? Because expression 1 might contain x, let's say 2x minus 1. Expression 2 also might contain x, and let's say it's a bit different one. So that's what is called algebraic equation. Instead of x, you might use different letters. For example, you hear the statement about unknown, let's say mass. In order to form an equation, I recommend instead of like just x, y, z variables, try to use more meaningful values and variables. For example, if it's about mass, you're supposed to find unknown mass. It's better to say that unknown is just m. Okay? If you're thinking about, let's say, time and distance and velocity or speed, it's better to input different variables. Velocity v, t stays for time, and let's say d stays for distance. Sometimes in physics might be displacement. So anyway, so you remember the formula, d equals v times time. So for example, if distance is known, velocity is known, and time is unknown, so the only variable that will be left is time. So t, you understand clearly that's not like absolute x. T stays for a time, and you know it's because you marked from the formula. And always in your head there is the formula, so that's why it's easier finally to be concentrated on what actually you do, and that will help you to put the right units. Because when you mark, let's say, mass as x, you can barely remember which units it needs to have. So when it's mass, obviously you stick to specific units of mass. If it's about like distance, specific units for distance. So somehow it will help you. However, if the speech is about just numbers, unknown numbers, so you might use freely x with no problem. That won't be confusing. Okay, so one more time, the key idea here, when you try to form an equation from word problem or from some statement, maybe algebraic statement, so you need to use meaningful variables. That's the first key idea. Okay, so what's the steps in order to form linear equation? When you hear the statement, what steps you need to follow? So first of all, you need to decide what the unknown quantity, or what's the unknown amount, what's the unknown value, and just choose an appropriate variable to represent it. For example, if it's unknown mass, you have a pizza, you have, let's say, 1/4 of a piece, the total mass, let's say 1 kg. If it's 1/4, what stays for this mass of this little slice, or little, piece of pizza? So logically, you put a mass as an unknown. So that's the first step. Also, you need to look for the operation involved in the problem. Like here, we said it's 1/4. 1/4 of 1 kg. So you might directly put this into right mathematical writings. This mathematical writings will be an algebraic equation. So it's 1/4 out of means we need to multiply, but why 1 kg? And automatically, you see, kg gives you units for your unknown mass. Okay, that's the second step. And always pay attention to keywords. For example, you might have a statement, decrease by. Okay, what it means? It means you need to subtract. If it becomes more than the previous value, you need to add something to the previous value. If it double, you need to multiply by 2. If you have halved of the amount of the quantity, obviously you need to divide by 2. So that's like key statement that you need to consider and be able to convert into mathematical operation. So in step 2, you need to have a proper operation. In this case, we just apply 1/4. So actually we can do in a bit different way. We can take 1 kg and divide into 4 parts and take 1 part. That's basically what fraction 1/4 means. So you can consider as division. In both approach, you'll have correct answer. 1/4 of kg. So basically it's 250 grams. All right, and at the last step, just complete equation with equality sign. So that phrase will indicate to you that your known quantity or maybe something is result or some operation will result in something, or like something equals to something, or your answer is like this directly. We can state that in words what it is. It's your mass as a result of 1/4. All right, so I explained it a little basics. Probably it's better, to keep training and instead of like just hearing, and that's why we start doing the problems below. All right, so let's do this. I'll raise the space because I need that. We need to have proper workspace. All right, so translate into linear equations, but don't solve. Okay, I erase this phrase and we'll be solving also. So when a number is increased by 6, the answer is certain. So you can pause the video and try to consider all those tasks. Try to do by your own and then try to check with my explanation. So first of all, we need to first choose an appropriate variable or unknown. In this case, the number indicates unknown, so that's why we can say let's number be x. So your number is just x. So number is increased by 6. Obviously, you will have sort of this operation because number is increased by 6 and the answer is certain. Okay, we arrived to the result because we heard the answer is key phrase, right? Key words. So x plus 6 is a result certain. So basically the statement tells you that on the left side x plus 6 is an equivalent to a number certain. We completed an equation and pretty sure that we can solve by just doing, basic operation, how we cope with linear equations. We just transfer 6 and subtract 30 minus 6. So we'll get 7. So your number is 7. So the answer is 7. All right? So next one. When a number is increased by 5, the result is -4. So your number is x. Now the key phrase, the key words here is decreased by. So we subtract 5 and the result is -4. Here is one more equation. So from here we can figure out that x is 5, we transfer it to the right side, minus 4 is 1. Next one, C. A number is doubled and 7 is added. So you have several steps. So first of all, you have the key phrase that number is doubled. So we choose the number as x. Number is doubled means we have 2x now. And then 7 is added. So this is second step or second operation. We add 7 to double quantity of x. The result is 1. All right, we've got an equation and now we need to solve that. So minus 6 n over 2, x is negative 3. Well done. So D, when a number is decreased by 1 and the resulting number is halved, the answer is 45. So here is a bit more like complicated logic because first of all, the number is decreased by 1. So what we need to write? We need to write that your number x and you subtract 1. That's how you decrease by 1. And the resulting number, so what you see here is the resulting number. You don't know what exactly, you don't know the value of it, but you know this is your number, resulting number. And now it's halved. So what it means halved, it's better to use fractions, say over 2. Or you might use x minus 1 divided by 2, but I don't recommend use that. So better work with fractions. You remember when we were trying to solve linear equations that were fractional, we use fractions. We never use division as like a sign stays for it. So we use as the fraction. All right, so if the resulting number is halved, the answer is 45. So the result of that is 45. Okay, we arrived to fractional equation. How to solve that? We can say that it's 45 over 1. And now just use straightforward logic. Crisscross multiplication, one more time and repeat. So 1 by x minus 1 and 45 by 2. So 45 multiplied by 2 is 90. So we'll get the final answer to be 91. So the answer is here is 91. Okay. So next one. So raise this. Yeah, space is critical here. This is the same as the memory, you know, RAM, random access memory in the computer. We're always struggling to get more. We put extra chips. So here's the same, looks like the same problem. So we need to have enough space in order to solve something. All right, so 3 times a number is equal to 17. So you heard 3 times the number. So what we need to write? We need to write 3 times the number. And the result is 17 minus the number. Be careful, 17 minus the number. So we'll get this with no doubts. So negative x would transfer to the left side. We'll get 4x equals 17. So the result is 17 over 4. That's how we solve that. 17 over 4. The result is here. So in the last one, 5 times the number is 2 more than the number. 5 times the number, so we get the result of this statement, is 2 more. When you heard is, it means the result will be 2 more than the number, okay? We're writing x plus 2 because your number was x. Obviously, for x equals 2, x equals 2 over 4, which is 1 over 2. So the result here is 1 over 2. So I highlight all the results so that you can compare. And if you did it correctly, we can go to next step. So translate into equation, and again, we erase that as if we didn't here. So we understand that we need to solve that. All right, let's try to do. So the sum of 2 consecutive integers is 33. So first of all, integers, you remember, we put z plus or minus. So basically integers is your number line with step 1 to the right side, 1, 2, 3, 4, including 0, and to the negative side also. -1, -2, -3. You know that 0 is just neutral, but however it's integer. So this is z plus direction starting from 1, and this is z minus. All right, so we have sum of two consecutive integers, that is 33. So this problem actually might be approached like, you know, you're taking 33 and just trying to divide into equal parts. So you've got like 15 something, maybe 16 something. So what if it's 16 and 17? Yeah, you'll definitely get 33. However, this is like, you know, fast approach, but of course we need to apply the methods using forming equations, and only then like normally solve that. How we can approach that? All right, so we can do by saying we have, and then we'll check our fast track here. So how to solve algebraically. I just erase that. So how to solve that algebraically? We need to take the number, and then we need to say that the next integer is going to be one more, right, than your number, because the keyword here, consecutive, means they following each of the other. So it means the next one is going to be x plus 1. So what do we have? We'll have an equation that the sum of two consecutive integers, that the left-hand side of the equation equals to 33. All right, so we add x and x, we'll get 2x. 1 we transfer to the right, we'll get 32. Then we divide by 2, 16, and the next consecutive integer is x plus 1, so 17. All right, cool. So this is algebraic approach. But however, here you can do it like very fast. So let's erase that. And now the second B part. So A is completed. So B, the sum of three consecutive integers is 102. Of course, in this case, you can divide by 3 and try and, you know, to play with what it is. But let's do it just simply algebraically. So if the first is x, the second one will be just one more. And the next one, I mean the first number, then the second number, and the third is going to be just 2 units more than the previous, right? So it's 1 unit more than the previous, but it's 2 units more than the very first one. That's why you'll have x plus 2 instead. So right, the result, if you add them up, you'll get 102. All right, let's try to solve that. 3x and 1 and 2 will get 3. 102 minus 3, you'll get 99. And 3x equals 99, from where you just divide by 3, and we'll get 33. So that's the first one. So actually, idea about dividing by 3 and trying to, you know, to play with numbers, like doing mental math, lead to you that x first is 33. So what about the second? X plus 1 is 34 and 35. If you add them up, you can check the result. You should get 102. All right, so B is also completed. So here, C, the sum of two consecutive but odd integers. So let's consider two odds. You know, that specific, you know, specific sort of expression that indicates your number is an odd, n plus 1. While for even numbers, we use like 2k, for example, or 2n. So, however, we just try to understand that if the first number is just x, for example, might be 7, let's say 7, for example, it's not referred to 52, of course, because the sum, it's pretty far from 52. So the next one is going to be 2 units away, right? From the first one. If first one is 7, so the next one is 9. So you understand that they're split apart by 2 units. So if you mark x as the first number, so the next number will be 2 units more. And what are you doing with them? You add in order to get 52. So you just add them. And the result is 52. So 2x is simply 52 minus 2 is 50. So x is just 25. And the next x plus 2 is 27. All right. So we've done all. And D, the last question. The last question here. So let's try to solve that. Sum of 3 consecutive odd integers 69. 3 odd, 3 consecutive and odd. So the first is x, the second x plus 2, and the third one, so 2 units apart, and from the very first, how many units? 4 units apart, right? For example, if it's 5, this is 7, this is should be 9. So 9 and 4, 5, just 4 units. If you don't get, like, you know, for some like students might be hard to immediately start doing with variables, just imagine that the first number is like pretty known, like 5 or 7, like easy odd number. If you start from 5, you understand that you need to add 2 units in order to get 7, and in order to get the next one, 9, you need to put 4 units. So that's, you know, difference between them, between the numbers, will give you an idea how for general numbers, how many units they stay apart from each other. That will give you an idea. But actually, if you're well with sequences, with arithmetic sequences, you won't have any problem here. So we'll get x plus 2, and the last one, if it's 9, so x plus 4, right? So if you add them up, the result is 69, so you can easily solve that. So try to solve by your own, and you'll get the right answer. All right, so the next set of questions. This is about word problems. This is about cost. All right, first of all, I want to consider a simple example before we start doing. So, you know, for example, we have an object, like some good that is selling somewhere in stall in the market. Say its price is P dollars per unit, or, you know, P pounds per unit, per piece. So you understand that it's currency per unit. In order to get, for example, you buy some quantity, Q units. So you buying Q units. That's what, in order to get the total price or the total cost you're paying for, you need to do what? Of course, unit price multiplied by quantity. So I just show you what's going on in terms of units, because, you know, those who take physics GCSE, they probably aware how to use units. But for those who don't take it and probably have lack knowledge how to use units properly, this is the right time to understand. Look, we can consider units as simple fraction. For the first one, dollars per unit. So we multiply by units. So basically we multiply it by unit over 1. So I just simply use units and perform operation of multiplication. So I'm multiplying P and according to units, dollars per unit, multiplying by quantity, by unit. So as you expect to have, in the end, you should get the total cost or total price in dollars. So how we can get using units? You just cancel them. You can work with, you know, with units as if they're numbers or they're some unknowns. Let's say dollars is just, X, unit is just Y. What do you have here? You'll have algebraic fraction, X over Y times Y over 1. Y can be cancelled and you'll stay with X, but X is dollar amount. But I don't recommend to swap in this way. I just show you that simple units, working with units is the same as working with algebraic fractions. So that's a very powerful tool. Trust me, sometimes, when you cope with currency exchange, when you use, the graph, to understand how to convert, say, pounds into dollars using currency exchange rate that's on stock markets, probably that's online. Okay, so you can, you can work with the units in order to get the right units in the end. And this simple example will help you. All right, so just try to cope with the units as if they're numbers. So that's why the summary here is, in order to find total price, you just simply need to multiply unit price by the quantity. So this is total cost or total price that you're paying for, or paying to the seller. Right, let's come back to the problems and see what they have. So first, problem number 1. Pencil costs for 40 pence. All right, so we've got 40 pencils here. All right, and eraser costs 70. So we can write SP as unit price for pencil. I will use index P, stands for pencil. And this is unit price, so means 4 pences. Sorry, 40 pence per unit. Of course, you can convert immediately into pounds. 0.4, pounds over unit. Maybe it works properly because, in the end, you'll have 3.40 in pounds. So, unit price for erasers, E, that's index E means erasers. So, it costs 70. Again, pence per unit. Or 0.7 pounds per unit. So if I purchase 3 fever erasers, then pencils, okay. So I purchase 3 fever erasers, then pencils. Okay, what I can write, because 3 fever erasers, then pencils, if you mark, let's say, quantity Q of P pencils as QP, that means units. How many erasers you need to buy according to the task? If it's just, 3 less or 3 fewer. So in order to complete that, you just simply need to write the following. So you take in quantity of P and subtract 3. That stays for quantity for erasers. Units. Okay, so the next step is to figure out the total cost. So what are you doing? You take in the price of pencil, multiply it by the quantity of pencils. So we'll get, because we have 0.4, we just write the following. 0.4, that's the price per unit. You multiply by the quantity of pencils, QP. Then you add, because you want to consider the total cost of what you get. So in this case, you'll pay 70, or sorry, in pounds, you'll get 0.7, and you multiply by quantity of pencils minus 3, because we already established that quantity of erasers is just 3 less. So that will be equal to the total cost, 3.4 pounds. So we need to solve that. In order to find, we actually write just an equation for the phone, but we'll solve it here. So what we can do, we know that similar terms, the variable that we're looking for is quantity of pencils. So we just expand the brackets and simplify that. So final we'll get 0.4 q plus 0.7 q, so we'll get 1.1 q of pencils, quantity of pencils, and then we subtract 3 by 0.7, so we'll get minus 2.1 if we multiply, so we'll get 3.4 pounds. Obviously everywhere stays the units for pounds. Alright, so 1.1 quantity of pencils equal 3.4 plus 2.1, we'll get 5.5, and then we divide by 1.1 in order to find quantity of pencils. So we'll get 55 or 11, just 5. So 5 means pieces or units, because here we divide in pounds per pounds, and that's why how we get, sorry, but pounds per unit, yeah, because 1.1 is just the unit price, it means pounds per units, and we multiply by units, so that's why when we divide in pounds per units, we'll get pounds, but pounds cancel, and just let's see indeed how it works. So pounds we divide by pounds per units. So how we divide fractions? By a fraction we just make it reciprocal, so actually it will be pounds over 1 and multiply by a reciprocal, so units over pounds. So that's why pounds will be cancelled, you'll stay with the units. But actually it's not necessarily to do, but sort of check somewhere. It's very significant where you are not sure about the formula you're probably using. So you found a quantity of pencil of 5 units. If you get erasers 3 less, you'll get quantity of erasers just 2. Alright, that's how it works. Not so hard at all. Alright, so let's take the second task. So I just erase that because we really need to have space. Space is critical here. So probably I zoom in a little bit. So right, let's move on and get the phone. So a group of friends went to a cafe to tea and coffee. Tea costs 2.5 euros and coffee costs 3.6. The number of people who ordered coffee was twice the number who ordered tea, and the total bill was, let the number of people who ordered be tea. Who ordered tea be tea. You see, they use actually more, meaningful values. Instead of like saying, okay, let it be X, they actually use meaningful letter T, stays for T. And other who ordered coffee, it's better to use C. So we have two variables, T and C, stays for the quantity or amount of, cups or mugs that people ordered. Or you can consider as, amount of people who ordered tea and who ordered coffee correspondingly. Alright, so we will be using T and C, and let's complete the equation straight away. So 2.5 euro per tea, so we multiply by T, that's the total cost for T, and then 3.6 multiplied by C, and that's how we arrive to the total cost, 29.10. Alright, so from here we can figure out that also we need to take into account the number of people who ordered coffee was twice the number who ordered tea. So, right, number of people who ordered coffee was twice the number. So, coffee, it's of the most preference, is twice who ordered tea. So we connect that, and instead of like C, we straight away put in 2t instead of C. Actually, you can do it in one single step. Instead of writing C, coffee, you just simply can put double T if you like. But, you know, for not making any mistake, you just need to solve a simultaneous equation. This is not topic that we discovered, but it definitely looks like that. So in 2 steps, you can say that you basically complete 2 equations connecting the total cost and, you know, coffee with T quantity, and you just put back instead of C. So C stays here, and instead of C, you just put 2t. All right, so what sort of equation we have? 2.5t plus 3.6 times 2 and times t equals 29.10. So we can simplify that by combining. We can factorize t, and we have 2.5 in brackets and 3.6 by 2 will get 7.2 equals 29.10. And from here we can solve and find t finally, just by dividing 29.1 over 2.5 and 7.2, so we'll get 9.7. And in calculator, using calculator, you can do it with no problems. So the core idea was how to form equation using problems. All right, let's go to the next one. Well, our actually font has been increased, so we need to raise this writings. All right, so let's move on and see. Sum of 2 consecutive integers, 75. All right, here I'll do it just very fast. For those who are interested in, just pause the video and try to do it by your own, guys. So sum of 2 consecutive integers, 75. So x plus 1 equals 75. Find the integers. So 2x is 6, x is 3, and the second is 4. 3 and 4. Oops, sorry, 75. That was miswriting. Okay, so I correct my results. So 2x is 74, and 74 halved is going to be 37, and then 38. That was this for consecutives. All right, so let's go next. The sum of 3 consecutive even integers. So we start from even. So that's my x plus 2 and x plus 4. This is an equation equals to 54. And you can solve applying this simple logic. I just create that, and that's it. So when a number is subtracted from 40, the result is 40 more than the original number, right? Number is subtracted from 40, so you have a number and subtract it from 40. The result is 14 more, so the result is 14 more than the original number. So you have original number plus 14 because the result of this is 14 more. This is an equation. You'll get 2x because you transfer negative x to the right side, and 14 you subtract from 40. Right, you'll get 26, so x is just 13. All right. Oh, actually, we skipped that one. So let's solve this. Oh, no, we didn't skip. We just created an equation. So next one, the last one, I guess. 122 subtract from number. You have a number, you subtract 22, and the result is doubled. So you double the result. The answer is 6 more than the original number. 6 more. You see, actually, you can, you can do it very, very fast. So we'll get 2x minus 44 equals x plus 6, and from here you have x equals 44 minus 6, you'll get 38. That's it. That's your number. Alright, so let's see. Oh yeah, we have also something. When 1/4 of a number is subtracted from 1/3. Alright, so sort of fractional. So let's compete with that one. So for those who can try to do both their rounds, pause the video and try to do. Okay, so we'll start doing 1/4 of a number. So we have a number x, then we take just simply 1/4 of it. So we divide by 4. That's 1/4 of x. It's subtracted from 1/3. So this number is subtracted from 1/3. So we're taking 1/3 of the number and we subtract fourth part because third part is more, right, than fourth part. So logically, you can check yourself. The result is 7 because the result is positive. So we are right. Find the numbers, okay? Let's try to come to common denominator. So common denominator in order to come with fractions. So basically, I give you the hint how to do this if you forget how to work with fractions. So you just simply multiply 3 and 4, you'll get 12. And then you do crisscross multiplying x by 4, you'll get 4x. And 3 by x, you'll get, minus, that was minus. And you'll get minus 3x. Of course, you can use also the concept of the lowest common denominator as like LCM, LCD. So in order to do that, anyway, 12 is going to be the lowest one. So, and those methods are coincide, but actually for those like other examples, if you have different numbers like 6, for example, in 4, so 12 is going to be the lowest common, while multiplying will give you 24, for example. So you understand that. So, but this method is pretty straightforward. It's less prone to errors. So that's why I recommend to use. And you'll get 7/1 because you feel about that you have fractional equation. All right, let's try to resolve it. So for x minus 3x is just x. X over 12 equals 7/1. 7, so x is just simply 12 by 7 multiplying by each other. So 7, and you'll get 84. Yeah. So find the number. So your number is 84 here. 84 is the result. All right, so let's move next. So rows cost 5 each and geranium costs 3. So Michael bought 4 more geraniums than roses. And total spent 52. How many roses did she buy? All right, so Michelle, actually, not Michael. All right, so rose cost £5 per each one. Okay, so 5 per rose multiplied by rose quantity, R, and geraniums, which is actually, all right, I put G for that, 3G. The result equals 52 pounds in spending. And we also have the connection between rose and geraniums. In this case, she bought 4 more geraniums than roses. So you can say geraniums is roses plus 4. And you just grab that expression and put instead of G here. All right, so you'll get the following. 5R plus 3 multiplied by R plus 4 equals 52 pounds. So you just simplify AR equals 3 by 4 is 12. So you subtract 52 and 12, you'll get 40 pounds. And each rose, each rose, the total quantity of rows is 40/8. It's 5 units or pieces. How many rows did she buy? So 5. The answer is 5. So So we'll get answers 84. So 5 here. So one more time, have a look at the solutions. Alright, so next one. Nick has 40 coins in his collection. So I'll put an arrow here indicating that we solved that. So, alright. 40 coins in his collection, all of which are either 5-cent or 10-cent coins. 40 coins in total. If the total value of his coin is 3 points, how many of each coin types does he have? Okay, so yeah, let's do that. So what we need to complete: 5-cent or 10-cent coin. So if you mark like, I don't want to mark like 5C and 10C, so instead of I'll use, you know, X stays for 5 cents and 10, so and let's say Y stays for 10 cents. So the total value of his coins 3.15. So Nick has 40 coins in his collection. So 40 coins in total. It means that X plus Y equals 40. However, the total amount is $3.15. So the quantity, because this is 5 cents, right? You can write in terms of values. So if X stays for the quantity, you can say that the total amount 3.15 we can get using the following. So we know that's 5 cents. It means in terms of dollars, or maybe it's better to go with cents. So let's go with cents. Stay with cents. So 5x, that's going to be amount of 5-cent coins, which in quantity X. And then we add just 10 times Y. And the result will be 315 because we convert into cents. Okay, now what to do? So how many of each type? So it doesn't matter. So let's express X through Y. It's 40 minus Y. That's what we have for X. And where X stays, we can change it into this expression. So we'll get 5 times 40 minus Y, and then plus 10y equals 315. So from here we can simplify 200 minus 5y and plus 10y will get 5y in total, 315. So we'll get y equals, subtract is 115 and over 5. That's going to be our result. So I split by 115 and divide by 5. So without calculator, I'll get the following. So y is just 23. That's what I have. So we have 23 coins. That stays for y. And because, so one more time, because x is 40 minus y, you'll get 17 stays for x. So you'll have 17 5-cent coins and 23 10-cent coins. Alright, and let's finalize. So let's finalize with this task. So actually lots of information. I need to erase that, sorry guys. Those who are checking, just try to stop the video on the appropriate mark in order to check your answers. Okay, so I can mark that 23 for 10 cents, that's the answer, and 17 for 5 cents. So that you can check it quickly. So next, a store sells batteries in packets of 6 or 10. So in stock they have 25 packets, which contain total 186 batteries. So 25 packets in total, which contain total 186. How many of each packet size are in stock? Okay, so what we can do, we can try to, there are two types of packets, by 6 and by 10. In total, there are 25 packets here. So 25 packs. So basically, we can say that if this is X amount, X packets, and each contains 6, and this is Y packets, each contain 10. So in total, X plus Y will give you 25 packets. And in total, you have the amount of batteries. So how to transform amount of batteries and equate to 186? So we just simply can say that 6 by number of packets means 6x, and 10y, that's number of batteries in y packets in total. So you will get this equation. So as ordinary, we use that as simultaneous equations. Yeah, this a bit, maybe it's a bit early, but for those who are well with simultaneous equations, you understand, guys, that you need just to express and substitute. So that's method of substitution. Or you can align factors like coefficient before variables and just simply add or subtract. So I just use simple substitution because it's pretty fair. So it's 25 minus x, and I put instead of y. So 6x plus 10, and instead of y we just put this whole amount, 25 minus x. So we multiply, which is a result. This is the result into 186. So we need to expand brackets and simplify. So automatically you'll get negative 4x, so it's better to keep it on the right side. And 250 minus 186 you'll get on the left side. So in order to find x, you just simply need to calculate this fraction over 4. So I guess it's around 15 or 16, so it's 16. Yeah. And in order to find y, you just need to put 16 here. 25 minus 16, you will get 9. That stays for y. So basically we have x equals 16 and y equals 9 in this last task. So equals 9 and equals 16, and hence we solve everything. So just try to compare your answers. We've got everything. So I hope you also did in the right manner, because you becomes more educated while watching my videos. So I hope that those students who are really advanced maybe just watch several topics. So for those who need to, to go through the whole course, I'll provide these options and opportunities. So you'll be learned, and I think pretty, you'll be pretty strong with these videos. And actually, if you keep going with me, because after GCSE topics, when I finalize that, I actually consider the option to go to either A level or IB. So I think I'll take both levels, high level and standard level. So guys, you'll be grown, and I'll be grown with you, and you'll be grown with me. So we just share our ideas, just don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to press the bell button to be in touch with me, and actually just waiting your comments in order, it will be interesting for me, because you guys decide what exactly I need to create. I can create by my own, but there is sometimes urgent demand or request, so don't be afraid, just drop the comments, and as soon as possible I'll give you feedback as a new video. All right, so hope you enjoyed and keep on track.